guys, I just want to talk about yesterday what happened when I was out on Uber, and it was kind of uh, a moment where I realized that I really wasn't living with abundance. So I like to go out in Uber. I do Uber full time, most of the time, and I usually carry around $100 in tip money to give to the homeless. And I usually have like tens and fives, but anyway, so I was at a stoplight and all I had was change, um, some dimes, nickels, and quarters. And the guy looked at me and I had a roll of 20s, and I was thinking to myself, um, I really need this for some reason. And the homeless man looked in my car and he said, "Man, I really wish I could get one of those 20s. I wouldn't have to be out here anymore." And I told him, I really needed this. And that was when I realized, I'm not really living with abundance. I was clinging onto that 20 as if I needed it to survive. And that was the moment I realized that, you know, you have to tell yourself that every day that I have more than enough. Um, if you don't, you know, tell that to yourself, then you're always thinking that you're living in survival mode. And, you know, later that day, I ended up giving out the rest of my 20s, but um, that was the moment yesterday when I realized that, you know, if you want to have abundance, you have to, you know, let go of whatever resources that you have, which is if it's your time or your gifts, your knowledge, your skills. Um, you know, if you really truly live in abundance, then you will give that. And to give, you first have to be a source. So you know, honestly, like obviously you don't want to give something that you're not a source of. So whatever you are a source of, you need to give freely. That will actually let the universe know that you are living in abundance. And it wasn't until later that night, you know, I sat into this Zoom call and it gave me this Zoom call gave me this nugget of wisdom. And it's like the universe, you know, knows that if you're living in abundance and you are living in the law of circulation, where you're giving freely and receiving freely, um, when you receive, um, you'll be more aware of the things that the universe is trying to give you. And if I didn't have that, if I didn't unblock that circulation of giving and receiving, I would have never been aware of this golden nugget of information that I received last night, and it was like a life changing moment. And it all came back to me. It all came back to that one moment where I was holding on to a 20 like I needed it. And um, but anyway, I hope this message can help you with unblocking any type of um, you know circulation issues with giving and receiving. Um, and I encourage you to try it. If you see somebody that is obviously in need, and you have the ability to give, then I highly recommend you trying it. It is like one of the best feelings. You have to understand that if you believe in abundance, you're not gonna live like it. Your dollar is a zero sum game, where you give that dollar and you won't believe that that dollar is something that you lost. That's somebody who believes in where we are all separate entities, and um, where that is a zero sum game where somebody wins, somebody loses. Well, that is what the 3D world. Uh, that's how you play the game in the 3D world. But when you transcend into the higher dimensions, you'll realize that we are all one person. We are not separate entities. And when you give, you're giving to yourself. You know, you will receive something that might not be the same thing that you gave, but it creates that awareness. And, you know, anyway, so I hope this message resonates with you. Um, and anyway, it was nice talking to you, and I, you know, I want to just thank you for your time.
That was the wisest thing you ever